Hi, everybody. It's me. And if you like my channel, please like and subscribe. There's a notifications bell down in the corner that will let you get notified as to when I'm about to go live. And I want to talk about the other day. The other day, I had done quite a bit, and I did it while first dose of new arthritis meds and without my other meds. And I was really trying. And I went back and took a look at it and I started picking myself apart. Um, I got real judgy with myself. Hi, Tatum. And I started being like, well, your hair was messy and your makeup, you should have redone your makeup and all of these other things. And finally, I just had to be like, hold the phone. Like, you're the girl that would go on before that you could even brush your hair, and why now are you so concerned? And I think, you know, the thing is we all want to, myself included, I want to put my best face forward. And sometimes if I was to wait to do that, the days that I'm able, maybe then I'm not really thinking about my message, or maybe I'm not able to communicate as well. And some of those things I look at and they can be barriers. And so I ended up deleting the whole vlog. Hi, Roberto. Hi there, just for you being you, person side note. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I was really self-conscious, and I deleted it because I was really just harsh. I was like, well, you're talking about mental illness in the middle of a manic episode and you don't make any sense. And I had to stop myself and be like, if it wasn't yourself and it was somebody else, what would your words be? And I found that I would be much kinder, and that it's real life to have messy hair. I was up at 3:30 a.m. curling this mop, you know. And I, engaged people and I did stuff, and sometimes I can't get online until the end of that. And I had to come to this realization that I had when I had done that to myself, I did myself a disservice, because I try to always believe in myself. And when I look back at deleting it and the harsh critic I was to myself, I I am reminded that all I had to ask myself was, did you do your best? And the answer is yes, absolutely. You know, um, Today, for example, I was up at thank you, Tatum. It was all up and everything, and now I took it down. And the reason this vlog right now, like I'm talking about it, is because I went and I got, of course, got into my jammy pants and my sweatshirt, and me and Ro were chilling, and you know, I I was exhausted, and I was like, I really want to get on and talk about some things. Like, I really want to communicate with people. I really want to. And I was like, oh, if you do, you got to, wash your face and redo your makeup. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't have to do that. You just have to say what you need to say. It's this is just a suit. And yes, I want to take care of it. Yes, I want to put my best foot forward. But the truth is that when I have the chance to sit down and talk, a lot of times I'm tired. I'm exhausted, just like anybody else. And I think that that comes with, you know, self-acceptance. And I was really glad to be able to like reflect on it, because it it took until really like the hard reflection came today because I went to this I'm taking these classes on the weekend from the People's Academy for Civic Engagement. And just one second, Roberta, you're welcome. Having a mental illness is tough. That is true. It's beautiful insight. Oh, thank you. Ro is amazing and she is beautiful all the time. Look at that. Mm. So I went to this, I'm going to these classes, and there was a lot of people, and I'm used to, I'm very vocal, and I network, and I have a lot of connections, people that I know that do a lot of amazing things. And so I love just meeting new people and everything. And I also know that when I'm around large amounts of people, sometimes it can result in me getting a little manic, almost like feeding off the energy of the room. But sometimes that can be unbearable, especially when you happen to be a person like me who might be a little bit of a know-it-all. And so I was immediately, of course, they were like, well, you know, and most people were like, I want to know what resources are out there. I want to know what this. I'm like, oh, hey, I know of an app. Like for real, I can tell you the resources. Then I met another girl that was trying to get hooked up with people in harm reduction. So I'm introducing her to like people at the Heart Center and other people that I know are in harm reduction. And, and I was just flowing with it. And then I realized that I got really critical again of myself. And I was like, you were too loud. You were too obnoxious. You talked too much. You were forceful. You were too passionate. You were all of these things until I had to quiet that voice and ask again, did you do your best? Yeah, I did my best. Well, okay then. Even if sometimes it doesn't come across the best way, I did my best. And I think that that's all that I can ask of myself. When I actually reflect on my behavior and my actions, I think that most times, you know, if it's outside of myself and I would have reacted with grace, I need to be having grace for myself as well. Um, I know this is off topic, but can you do an apartment tour? You know what? Actually, Tatum, I was thinking about that the other day, and I absolutely will. But again, that's one of those things like, okay, just a little, okay, you guys, we're going to be real right now. Um, I told you Laura gave me all those coats, so I have those on my floor. And because tomorrow is harm reduction Sunday, so I'll be able to take a few of those out with me during harm reduction. And so right now the house is kind of messy. I I was off my arthritis medication for like a month, and they put me on a new one coming up, and so I'm in the middle of switching medications, and then I was off my medications for like a couple days. So in all honesty, I am a very I like things being clean and put away and tidy, and it would pretty much destroy me to start showing like I guess it wouldn't. No, I lie. That's not a thing. It's just it's it's regular stuff and it's lived in, and but I usually like it much more picked up. Um you can see Rowan's toy box and stuff. Like, bam. There's Rowan's toy box. There's a new painting I'm working on. So it is not too bad. But yeah, I was thinking about that, and I absolutely will do an apartment tour. I'm always kind of looking for new ideas and stuff because I feel like a lot of the educational stuff, I really do wanna go through some of the back through some of the videos and things like that, and maybe if some of the topics I could speak about a little clearer, or I have more information on, because that's another thing with knowledge, it grows and grows, and so I learn more, and I'm able to, like, pass that on. And I think that's great. So I any kind of topics or questions or anything, I am so down to talk about it. And so yeah, if apartment tour, sure, I will put that on the list and we will do that. Let's see. I've chatted with you on Facebook and I love the painting you have done. Thank you. Keep it up. I'm from Canada and your talks on YouTube are special and understanding. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Hi, Tatum. Yeah. It's Thanksgiving weekend this weekend in Canada, and I'm very thankful for watching the YouTube channel. It gives me great advice. Thanks. I appreciate that. Um, and that's the thing is I want to be very real in the challenges that I face and the challenges that others face and solutions and education and all of that. But really, if I just want to continually be better and do better. And hopefully by doing that and spreading that word and spreading compassion and spreading empathy, that I know for a fact that those ripples travel and they travel to others and others will spread compassion and empathy and love. And so I know that when, you know, even even at my most cognitively impaired, at this juncture, I can really still impart love, if nothing else, or an idea or spark, maybe there's something somebody just needs to hear, like you matter, or, you know, we care and there are people that care. And I promise you, like I told today, I was lucky enough to be able to take an Uber to class because it was across the city, and I was, of course, talking with the Uber driver about, the humanitarian crisis, and, of course see, that's the thing, I'm always talking about it, like, it can get a little much, I'm sure, but, I I believe in our ability to be better. I just do. And so I was talking to him about it and he goes, "Well, how many people do you really figure are out there doing things? Like maybe 100?" And I was like, "Oh no, hundreds." Hundreds upon hundreds of people are out there doing things to make a difference. Absolutely. It's hundreds upon hundreds. And that's just in this city. That's not, even regional or national or global. Like that's just this city is hundreds. So I was able to impart that with him and be like, no, there if you're ever asking yourself, why isn't somebody doing A, B, or C? Check, check. Because I bet you they are, and they just need a little support from the community. So instead of maybe saying, why isn't somebody doing something, say, is somebody doing something? And look at it, because I found that so much. That's how I found that app. As I was like, "Oh my gosh, there has got to be an easier way than 211 or a booklet that comes out every year that, can get misplaced or whatever." And I was like, "Everybody has devices. There's got to be like something like a Google for these resources." And I looked it up and it was like almost a reason. I just typed it in and was like, "There is an app. Oh my gosh." And then, contacted it about whatever. But that's how I figured it out, is searching for that knowledge, looking, always maintaining that interest, I guess. um let's see. Give your dog a pat for me. And I've had this mental illness for the last 15 years now, and I learn new things every day to make it better and becoming happy. Oh yeah, absolutely. That is one thing with I was explaining that the other day, and oh, here's Ron. Roland, do you want a pat you on the head? Okay, I love you. Okay. She's uninterested and sleepy. Sorry, she cracks me up. I love her so much. Um, I actually forgot what I was saying. Oh, mental illness, yeah. Um, I was telling somebody the other day that it is one of those things where, you're hitting these barriers and it's challenging. Like, okay, for example, and I'm going to use my own for example, bipolar. Um, I'm rapid cycling bipolar, and medication makes it so it's not so dramatic, but it's still pretty dramatic. So what I tend to do is I have like a tracker. So I know that there's a certain amount of time that I'll be depressed, and then there's a certain amount of time that I'll be manic. And I know to schedule things like when I have to go outside the house and I'm out in public or I have to do speaking, to try to schedule those things when I'm manic, because I'm not full bore manic. I'm medicated, so that tampers it a little bit. But I know that if it's down in that slump, I'm not going to be able to complete those tasks. And I'm not going to be able to do anything really effectively other than and this is and I'm going to say this is how it works out too, because I won't be able to do the people centered stuff effectively. So what I'll do is make play kits for homeless dogs and people, or paint. And each of like when I do my photography or I do my painting, I make sure that out of the proceeds 20% gets donated to the nonprofits that I support. um, so it's always, I feel like I can always be doing something. I can always be scheduling around the illnesses that I have. Like I have an activity pretty much for every way of being, whether that be dissociation, whether that be mania, whether that be depression, whether that be, I gotta like, I know the symptoms. And I think that there was, and I wish I could remember, and I keep myself from saying it a lot because I don't remember who the author was, but they said something like, or I study myself the most. And I think that to try to understand the world around me, I have to understand my interactions with the world. Therefore, I need to understand myself. And so I look at, you know, overcoming some of these barriers as like I would overcome any other barrier. If you got a hurdle that's 6 feet high and you're only 5'2", well, then that's quite the barrier. You got to go find a ladder somewhere. But once you find a ladder, it's much easier. It's just sometimes you got to search for that ladder. That may have been a bad analogy, but whatevs. Um, let's see. Tatum, also, would you do a day in the life? Oh, I could. The problem with that, Tatum, is I've like wanted to do that before, but most of the time, like when I'm out running, I wouldn't be able to really record myself very well. Um, like to hold a camera up like that length of time, I wouldn't be able to do. So I'm not sure, other than like taking somebody with me, which most times, I'm out running to a place where other people are, but then, we're all busy with something. So that's kind of where that is I'm not sure how I would do that. Um, so I will definitely think about that. But that one is a hard one, and I've thought about that before because I would really like to people to come out and see what I do. See the difference, that like harm reduction. Knowing that what we did in 2 hours saved lives that whole week. Like we hear that these and the Narcan has prevented overdoses, the fentanyl testing strips have prevented overdoses. People want treatment. Like the things that are being done, and I'm not just saying me, I'm talking about like all over. The things that are being done are phenomenal, amazing things. And so yeah, it would be great to go and show them. Um, Roberto, I have bipolar depression and very low self esteem. I have 3 concussions in my life and I repeat myself all the time. I feel that. And people don't like that and they all walk away from me. Um, I had that for a while where I would excessively talk, and I would know that I was doing it almost, but I would follow people. Like I knew they were walking away from me, but I could not stop and I would like my brain would not stop. I would chase them down till I finished what I was saying. It was quite the thing. But I've also, Roberto, I've had several traumatic brain injuries also, and I will have to say speech pathology, dealing with like executive functioning, the repeating all the time. There are treatments. There is therapies for that. Harborview really showed me what could be done when it came to cognitive therapies and things like that. And these things can be helped. And there are, I urge you that if you've had brain injuries, you know, talk to somebody in neuro rehab. It's or talk to your local brain injury alliance. They're in US and Canada. Hi Trevor. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. It has been a very, very full week. Um, Tomorrow is Rose service dog. Yes, she is. Um, she is a seizure dog and a psychiatric service dog. And but good news is in the past, what was it, like 2.5 years ago? Um, my seizures they did the EEG and I was cleared. So yay. So that means my medication works. The thing is though, is it's still just like Rose, my girl. She's she's like everything. But I've gotten better though. Like I have been getting better and I don't have to take her everywhere now. And that's something that, I definitely don't take for granted. But sometimes it is nice, now I'm going to meetings and things like that. Sometimes it gets a little much. But then honestly, I'm very honest about who I am and like mental illness and stuff. So sometimes I gotta just look at a meeting and be like, I got a jet. Like I'm out. Bye. But I also happen to live in an area where a lot of people are educated and very understanding about those kind of things. So um gosh, I'm just like really blessed. And then oh, your sister has a service dog too? And then I came home today, and I don't remember know if you guys were present for like when I talked about the other day when like I my whole coffee craft broke in my whole hiking bag, and I was trying to mail paintings and I couldn't, and it was just like a big mess. And I get home and it's like all solved. There's, a new coffee craft and there, Starbucks gift certificate. Like I just want to I just don't think y'all know how much it means to just be sometimes completely exhausted and just know that you're cared about and cared for. And in my life, I definitely don't take it for granted. So I just want to thank you for all that. And it just makes my life easier, you know? Roberto, I didn't know that was in Canada. Maybe you could look it up for me and send it to me under your Being Camp Mom website. If you can, I'd like to know about it. Yeah, absolutely. I sure will. Yeah, it's Brain Injury Alliance. And actually, that's when I first got to Seattle and I was under the East Lake Bridge. That was my son and the kids were that was the first place we went was Brain Injury Alliance of Washington to let them know that hey like at the time I was needing treatment really bad. I was not You can even see like the progression of my videos and stuff. Like it's gotten much better. Honesty is the key for life. And you have to be honest with yourself. Exactly. Because the thing is honest, I believe in honesty with oneself. I just have to watch myself for criticism because there's a difference between trying to help myself and be like, okay, I've noticed that you're doing A, B, C, and D. So maybe a better way would be, or this, or going, gosh, you're so stupid, which that's not helpful. And I wouldn't say that to somebody else. So, treat myself with the same loving kindness that I would treat others with as well. And really, I take that to heart. Um, if I go into a store and the worker says no dogs, what do I say? Oh, hi, Sandy. Love you too. Sandy knows all about this because I had this happen. um, yeah, and actually, I will talk about that later, but I just got a message from Laura from Seattle Dogs, and she is here, and I am going to go and talk to her for a minute because I don't get to see her very often, and she's just down the street. So I will be back with you guys. I appreciate you all, and I will talk to you later. Bye.